Hey everybody. Hello. I hope you can see everything and hear me. Please let me know in the chat if you can see me, my hands at least, and you can hear me. Let me know in the chat. Yes, for yes, we can hear and see you. I think it's a little bit delayed, so this will be a little bit delayed. So whenever I say something. All right, welcome to our live painting session. I was thinking about doing this for such a long time, and I've seen that you guys really enjoyed it, and you're bored at home, you want to paint, but some of you are not feeling super creative right now and need some help. And so I decided just let's do it as long as we're stuck. Well, we're not stuck, we're safe at home, and let's paint together and have fun. Now, because it's Easter time, I thought it would be fun to paint something Easter related, but also spring related. And that's why I decided let's paint some. I will show you one of the sketches that I did before I jumped in. So these are the cards that I wanted to do. These are things that I planned out. It doesn't have to look exactly like I did here. Just the idea, and you can use the colors that you like, anything that works for you. So this is what we're going to paint. You don't have to necessarily do this anything Easter related. You can just paint it not in an egg. You can either paint it just the whole paint, like the whole paper, or you don't even have to write happy Easter. You can write anything else or nothing at all. So there's just many different ways. I just wanted to show you this idea, and you can transform it into anything you want. Okay. Hey Line, I'm from Brazil and I watch your videos with subtitles, but since this is live, I won't be. I'd like to ask if you please could talk slowly so I could understand. Okay, I'm trying. I will talk. Hopefully, I will talk clearly. English is also not my first language, so I will give my best. Sometimes when I get nervous, I start talking like crazy and quickly, and you can understand me. I also try to do this in like a bigger size. Like you can really get very creative with that. And I hope the light will also be fine here. Yes, you're going to paint this, and I will show you exactly how to do this. And so if you don't have all the supplies ready yet, I will go through quickly what you're going to need. So first of all, you will need watercolor paper. I'm going to use, this is, what is it? This is a ready cut watercolor paper by Strathmore. This is hot pressed, but you can also use cold pressed. And you don't, is it, I don't know, is it cotton paper? Yeah, it's cotton, but it doesn't have to be cotton. You can use any other paper as well. It's just like cotton paper tends to hold the paper and hold the colors better, and the colors look more vibrant. But I'm still testing out this paper. I haven't. This is I painted on also Strathmore, but this was I don't know which one. It was 400 series 400, so it works also. And then you'll also need a pencil. Where's my pencil at? Here. I have this Faber-Castell pencil. This is actually a graphite aquarelle watercolor pencil. It dissolves with water, but you don't have to use this. It's just that, like I bought it ages ago, and I was like, it's lying around. Let me use it. It's also handy because if you miss a spot where you have pencil and you don't want it to be visible, you can just paint over it and you don't see it anymore. But it's okay. But you can also use anything else. A razor just to remove something. A brush. I'm going to use this silver black velvet brush in size 8. It has a nice tip, and it's very great for details. And also watercolors. Again, if you were at my last live stream, I was using this St. Petersburg watercolors because, again, I have them at home and then never really use them, so I started using them. So this is how it looks, but you don't need many colors. You only need one red. So here, this one, kind of like this nice cool red. This is kind of quinacridone, similar to quinacridone, or carmine red, I think that's also similar, and some yellows and greens. So that's all. So you don't have to have all these colors. And then also we need 2 jars of water, one for cleaning your brushes and one for clean water. Some artists like to use also 2 jars with cool and like red colors and blue colors, like the cool warm separation, but I think this is more complicated and I would get confused myself, so I'm just sticking to 2 jars of clean and dirty water. And yeah, did I forget anything else? I think that's all. And also some tissue paper if necessary, just to dab off some excess water. Can also be toilet paper. I know it's a rarity right nowadays, so we don't want to waste it. And yeah, that's all, I guess. And if you have, do you have any questions so far? What size of the paper? It doesn't matter. You can use. I think I cut it to size. This is, for example, this is A4, I think. This is A5, and this is smaller. Like you can really cut it into any size. You can just paint along in one size, and then if you like the idea and you want to practice more, you can just decide on which size you want to transfer it and paint again if you want. So it doesn't really matter. I think it looks really cool when it's a little bit smaller than bigger, because you can turn it into, I mean, you can also hang it up on your wall, but also if it's smaller, you can have it as a card. So it's really up to you. Okay. And washi tape, you don't need tape because we will be moving this around. And you can also use sketchbook. Really, you can use anything. And no, we won't need tape. All right, so let's get started. So we can move on and paint something. So I will show you again what we're going to paint. So this is the card we're going to paint. This is an egg shape. As you can see, I tried my best to create an egg shape. This is also an egg shape. And the cool thing about it is we don't really will draw the egg shape. We will just use the flowers inside. So here, for example, I have this outline here, but you will erase it later. And this is how it looks without the line. So the flowers form the shape of an egg. I think it's really cool because I think it's something special. It's not just an egg and you painted it a little bit. You just created this egg shape with flowers. I think it's cool. All right, so let's get started. So first of all, let me walk you through the steps. So for the egg, if you have troubles, for example, you're like, okay, I can't even draw a stick figure. This is what I hear sometimes. Basically, for an egg, you can either paint it freehand if you can. Like you don't have to think about. Let me use another pen so you can actually see it. So this, and again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be be a sketch. But if you have troubles shaping this, you can also think about it as a circle here. This is a circle inside, and this is kind of like a triangle. And you form it like this. So it's kind of like a circle with a triangle here on top, and then you form this shape. So again, you can, for example, start with this egg, with a circle, and then think about a triangle. So it kind of looks like a beauty blender. And then you just form it like that. And you have an egg. Like again, it doesn't have to look precisely. It can have any shape. You can even have it like that. You can even paint a drop if you want. You can even stick to a circle if you want. if you want to create the egg shape, again, you can do it like this. It's kind of like a curve like that. Or if you can freehand, you can also do this freehand. Like, looks like a potato a little bit. You want to have this lower side a little bit wider. All right. So you can decide which one. For the painting, we're going to use, well, I'm going to show you the egg version. And then for the tulips, it's also similar. The tulip that you're going to paint is also, it's kind of like this shape of an egg. But you want also to have, instead of going it upwards, like a triangle, I would paint it slightly open, like it's more of a square. And then goes like here. So this is going to be the tulip. So this is the egg. And inside, we're going to paint something similar, but this time it will be slightly curved here and flat a little bit here on top. Okay. So basically everything is just a simple shape, and you can break it down in such small shapes, and you get this egg or you get this tulip. And then inside, because this will be the base, we will also add the leaves later on top, and we will move them around a little bit. I will show you exactly how, but this is for now the shapes that we will be focusing on, and later we'll add the details. Okay? If you have any questions so far, let me know. Let's see. Got it. Okay. All right. So now let's outline this egg. So I wanted to make it slightly here in the center, but also keep a little bit of space here. I will just outline it again here. Again, you can use the method that I showed you, or just try it freehand. And again, you want to, when you outline it, you want to make it super light, because if you press down into the paper, you create these carving, like you carve in, and then when you paint over with a pencil, you will see exactly that you pushed something, like you pushed with the pencil, and it will damage the paper. Now see, I'm trying to make it super perfect. It looks already like not like an egg. Sometimes you just need to relax and not to try so hard to make it perfect. You can see it's just like a sketch now, and that's fine. You just want to have the basic shape. Okay. We have a beauty blender here. All right. Now let me remove some of the pencil lines. Now, if you're using pencils to sketch out something, you also want to use an eraser that is soft, because I used some weird erasers that really damaged my paper, and you don't want this to happen, because then when you paint over, you can really see where the paper is damaged. All right. Also, my nail polish kind of it's all over the place now. So, all right. Yeah, you don't want to. You don't. I mean, you will erase it later, so it's fine. But I like to have it a little bit out of the way, so I don't. So I know exactly how much space I have. I don't have a big outline. Oops, I drew a potato. That's fine. Okay, you can either use a bowl even and just make a circle if you want. So, okay, now you can see that here, for example, in my sketch, I placed them, I created 4 because I feel like it looks better. I also had a version with 5 tulips, and I don't know if maybe it's a Russian thing or something, but it's usually you don't gift flowers that are even numbers, so you usually use 4 flowers. But I think people who like those, how they call florists, the people who make beautiful bouquets, flower bouquets, they usually have 4. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to paint 4 anyway because I feel like this looks better than 5, but it's really up to you. Maybe you can paint as many as you want. All right, then first of all, I would like to place them into the egg so I know exactly where I will paint them. So here I can see I have one here on the right and a little bit to the left, then one up again on the left. So it's kind of like a movement here, because if they're on one spot or like lined in one area, I think that doesn't look that good. So you want to have a little bit of movement here and also just a little bit not in one line. All right, so now let's start. So you can see this is again a shape. Right now we will outline just where so we know exactly where to paint those tulips. So this one is somewhere here. Again, you don't have to focus on exactly the shape, you just want to outline it for now, just so you know where you have to paint the tulips. So again, here a potato, here a potato, and then one here, and then one is somewhere like here in the curve. Just very lightly, you don't want to press down, just very lightly, because you don't want the lines to be visible later. And then here we have one line, this curved line. Can you see this? I hope you can see this. So this is the line of the leaf, of the stem, and from also following the curve of the egg. So everything is like in a C shape and move in like in motion. So it kind of curves around this egg. And then we have also one leaf is, again, when you paint, you can still change things up. I just like to have some idea where I'm going to paint later. And then for the leaf, this is also a curve. So it's like a curve up and then a curve down. So it's kind of like a banana, kind of like that. And one goes here. Following again, you want to, when you paint, you want to stay inside this outline. So you actually form this egg shape. So when you have the leaf here, you want to cut it along this outline. Will you do more, or this is the painting the only one you will do in this live stream? We will paint only this painting in this live stream, but we will do more live streams. All right, and then this one is here. And so basically this is how we're going to paint everything. And this needs to follow all the curves. So everything is bent. Potato, yeah. So also it looks like a Yoshi egg, right? All right, so then we have also, this one goes here, curved to the right. So I'm gonna outline this line here. Maybe I will move it a little bit down here. And then one goes here. Maybe one goes here. Oh no, we still have this flower here. Okay, so this goes here. So if it's hard for you to, or you don't understand exactly how you're supposed to paint these leaves, this is just the outline. Basically, you want to have this thick line here that goes like a tape shape, like 2 lines here, and then they cross each other into this fine tip. But you're going to use a brush for that, so you don't have to carefully outline everything. We will do this with the brush later. And I think I will keep, I don't know if I want to have these two leaves here after all, because I think there's not enough space. All right. So we'll keep it here. Again, this goes somewhere here. along. Again, this is also, we're not trying to make it look super realistic. We only want to focus on, like, it needs to look like a flower in this case. So you don't want to get lost in all the details right now. As you can see, it's also not exactly how my sketch is. So I might change it up a little bit during the painting process. Maybe not, we will see. And you also might have some areas where you don't have anything. For example, here, there will be such a big gap. So what you can do is you can just add one leaf. That's maybe here's some flower lying around behind this egg, and you only see a little bit of the leaf. So you will have a little bit of green here that creates this curve. And then the other one will be here. So the tulips, I have here 3 leaves each, but I have also some here that I only have 2. So you want to have 2 or 3. I think that's enough. And I will have one curve here. And then goes here along this potato outline. And here. So this is basically how it looks. Let me show you. So this is how it looks. So basically you have these 4 round shapes for now. And then they curved. In curves, you have these stems that are following this C shape also. Everything's like this curve, also this C shape. Everything is in motion and is following the curve. And then you have the leaves that also fill out the outline. And when you hit the outline, you want to cut off the part. So the leaf will shape the whole egg shape later. All right. Is this clear, everything so far? And again, I showed you here in the beginning the shape of the tulip. Now, you don't have to stress about making exactly like that. But if you want to make it look, for example, here I have one, this is kind of like similar to the shape I showed you. This is like a little bit wider here and here a little flatter. Flatter, is this a word? Flatter, more flat. And then here, but here's, for example, is just like this egg shape. So it's totally fine. All right. And by the way, if you're painting this along with me and you're painting exactly what I'm showing you, I would love to see your results later. All right, I will now outline a little bit more clear so I can see clearly the shape of the tulip. So I have, again, a little bit wider on the bottom, and it's like a wine glass, or yeah, it's kind of like a wine glass, you can see. And here also we have a little bit wider on the bottom, and then it gets slimmer on the top and still keeps like this flat shape a little bit. And here again, we have this wider shape below. And then a little flat on top. Also here. Again, don't stress too much about making it perfect. That's fine. It doesn't have to be exactly like a perfect shape of the tulip. It's totally fine. There are so many ways how to paint it, so don't stress too much. Just enjoy the painting later when we use the colors. All right, so now I'm going to just lightly erase some of the lines. So because I don't want that to be too much in the way later, even though it's a water-soluble pencil, I want to remove it a little bit so it's not, I mean, there's still graphite in it. I don't want to have the colors of grayish later. All right, I think that's enough. Just a little bit so I can still see where I had my outlines. All right, now I can start painting. Are you following along? Am I going too fast or too slow? Let me know. You can also use colored pencils later to to add details. That's totally fine. I just wanted to show you the basic technique and how you can use it later for your own painting. Yes, I'm following along. Awesome, Benazir. Mako, do you know Studio Ghibli? Have you watched the films? Yes, I did, but haven't watched in such a long time. All right, so now we have time to paint. So now before we start painting, let me activate where's my brush? I just had it here. I was kicking it around. I use a pink eraser and it always ruins my paper. What other brands should I try? I think this is from Faber-Castell. I'm not sure. It's like a very, very soft eraser, or you can also use knittable. How it's called, like one that you can knit. It's also super soft, and you can just lift off the graphite. I think you can also do this here. Also, kind of lifts off the lines. The outline is difficult. Maybe post a sketch before the next video. Yes, I can actually. If you subscribe to my newsletter, it's Mako's Insider Club on my website. I will send out the link to this. I will add it to below this video, but I will also send it over with the email. So you can, if you have troubles painting it. All right, so now let's start. I will show you the process of one, and it's basically how we will paint the rest of the flowers. Let me remove the mess here. Can you keep the colored tulips in frame? Oh, okay, I can do this, yes. So this was the very first attempt. So, but I will focus on just one single paint. It's one single tulip at once. I don't want to copy exactly the same way. All right, now I will be using for this for these paintings. I'm going to use two colors. I will be using one pinkish color and one yellow, and create this gradient effect here. But you don't have to. You can also just use one color. Doesn't matter. I just like how it creates this nice effect. All right. Please post this painting an ID so that I can do it later. I will do. I actually had such a huge headache the whole week. I was like, yeah, I'm posting so much on Instagram. I'm so active, amazing. And then I had such a huge headache after I went outside for a walk. I was like, okay, I've been sitting at home for so long and we're still allowed to walk around, but just like stay away from other people. But I think I'm not used to the sun and the light anymore. So I had a huge headache for the next 5 days. So it was awful. Zoom it, please. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit with my tripod. Let me see. I just hope I will have enough space to paint. Let me see. Moving, we're moving. Hold on tight. We have arrived. Is this better? I think this is better, right? Sorry for the headache I gave you here. Can you fix this a little bit? All right. Just a little less space now with my setup here, right? That's fine. All right. Now I'm gonna use, let me see how I can put it better. Perfect. All right, awesome. Okay, a little less space here with my tripod setup. Well, we will work this out next time. Okay. So let's start. Again, I will be using this color. This is this pinkish color here. But again, they are pretty much smaller here. They have two here. But you can use any any red you have. I just like how this is kind of quinacridone similar, or carmine red, I think. And you want to activate the paint inside here, so they're all juicy. So these are going to be the colors for tulips, and for the gradient. The sound isn't flountly. What? Okay, I'm gonna use this yellow here because it's not that neon yellow like this one. Oh no, I made it orange. Okay, well that's fine. I like sometimes some colors just look better when they're not perfect. Okay, these are the colors for the tulips, and for the leaves, I'm gonna use 2 greens. You can either mix it yourself with this one yellow. This is like a cool yellowish color that's perfect to make green. So for example, you can use this and these colors, this blue and this yellow, to make a green, or if you have greens, you can mix it. Just you don't have to mix it. But I will be using, I think I will use this green. I don't know which color this is, an emerald green. But I will make it slightly lighter with water. And I will add a little bit of maybe this color a little bit, this yellow, because I don't want to have it super neonish. I want to make it slightly muted. Not muted, but a little bit more softer. And then for other details, I will just use a darker green. I have this, I don't have a name for this color, but it's pretty much this green here. But you can also mix it yourself with, let's see here, what can I use for that? Let me see. I think this could be work. This blue. This is a warmish blue. It's, I think, ultramarine. I haven't named the color, so this is so bad. So I don't know. All right. And then I will use this yellowish green. Yellowish green, I mean. This is a warm yellow, and you can see it's kind of matte. But I like it. I will see. Maybe I will use this color. Maybe I will. Let me add this after all. We'll see. Maybe I will also add some. This is another green that I had. I haven't mixed these colors much, so I don't know how they behave, because they are kind of, if you don't dilute them with water, they're pretty feels a little chalky. Mako, from which country are you? Mural, you're asking. I'm from Germany. Yes, I'm from Germany. All right, so these are going to be the 3 main colors. Well, 4. I can't count on camera. There it is. So basically, it's not very important how they call you. Just if you have similar colors. This is kind of like a pinkish magenta. Well, the camera doesn't show them perfectly, but basically this is a pinkish red. We have this is a warmish yellow here. Kind of I had it a little bit dirtied up with this pinkish color. We also have this green, and this a little bit more muted version of green. If you want to learn more about color mixing, I have a whole guide on color mixing, so you know exactly which colors go well together, which aren't, so you can learn more about it. They're linked in the description box below. I love dirty palette. Who else? Yeah, you can find so many cool combinations there. You don't even had an idea about. So it's really fun. I also wanted to bring some swatching paper, and I forgot. But I can. But you already saw the colors, so I think I don't have to swatch them. Yes, please, guys, don't. You promised to not spam and be rude in the chat, so please keep the chat safe and fun and spam free. All right, so oh no, I sprinkled some paint all over it. Good job, me. Remove it. Okay, fixed, kinda. So I have 2 jars of water, one for dirty water, one for clean water. So whenever I would switch the colors, I will use the dirty water to rinse off my brush, and then use the clean water to pick up clean water, so I don't turn the colors into dirt. All right, so here again, so this is what we're going to paint. Kind of these are the colors that I'm going to use, and what you want to focus on is you don't want to make it super dark. I mean, you can if you like it, but I feel like if you do them super dark, it can be difficult to add those details that are here. If they're too bright, like here, I think that's also too bright. The difference could be a little bit too harsh. Like this is kind of like too dark compared to this area. So I would find a middle ground, like maybe like here. So, but I think they still look good. So don't worry about it too much. All right. Let's start. So I'm gonna pick up this pinkish red. This is, I don't know which color it is. This is not cadmium red, but it's like a similar like a quinacridone red. Top left one. Yeah, I like this one also. All right, so I'm gonna start with this tulip here. So I'm gonna just apply a flat wash. There's a hair here. Just a flat wash around, following my guideline, but you can also paint outside if you feel like this would look better. For example, if you want to make the shape a little bit wider, like I do here, a little bit wider on the bottom, and then here on top I will do this. I don't want to have it like a flat. I want to have a little bit roundish still, so there are no harsh edges. Still, everything should be still round. Like so. And then, so I want to keep, I will want to make it more interesting. I think I will keep some areas lighter than the rest. So I will keep maybe the right side a little bit darker. And then I will add a little bit of this yellow straight with my brush, because they're kind of similar, so I'm not worrying about making it muddy. I mean, not similar, but they create a beautiful orange, so it's fine. And then I will add it to just the left side and a little bit here, and just make them blend together. So this is kind of like the wet and wet technique. And just blend in a little bit, and maybe add a little bit straight from my my palette, so it's a little bit darker. I will add it here. So there's like a little bit of variation. We have a little bit lighter areas, a little bit darker, a little bit orange here going on. All right, now I'm gonna wash my brush and use clean water. So because now I'm going to use the green. And then I will start with this bright green. And I mean, you can, I want to make this a little bit more loose. So I will paint the line already while the paint is still wet. So the paint will eventually probably run into the tulip. So you want to be careful with that. If you are scared or you rather want to play it safe, wait for it to dry and then you can paint the stem. Can I use a tissue to soak up the water? Yes, but I think if you use good watercolor paper, the water that is a little bit too much, it will dry evenly at some point. But if you use, for example, cellulose paper, it can be difficult. So you want to remove some excess water if there is. But here I can see that I can really show you this in the camera. But here you can see that the paint is pretty much evenly applied, even if it's darker here. Why is it all of a sudden dark here? The camera made everything darker. I don't know why. Oh, well, maybe it will wake up later. All right, and then I'm gonna use this light green and paint it a little bit inside, so you can see the shoots inside. But I think it creates a very beautiful effect because now you can see the red and green combine and create a beautiful transition, and looks a little bit more, the green turns into a more realistic green. Why is this so dark now? I don't know. Let me see if I can fix it somehow. Because when I moved my painting into the camera, it turned dark. I don't know why. This is brighter. Artificially brighter. Okay. And then I will also paint the leaves here with the same green. So I'm following the curve here. First, also I make sure I don't paint over it. I still keep the shape of the egg. And then I press down my brush to create this leaf shape. And then I lift up when I move towards the stem. So again, you don't have to like super perfectly, I don't know, transition or something. Just focus on like the movement and the colors. And then you can, if you feel like you can't, like, because whenever you paint, you can, if you focus too much on making it perfect, you will eventually feel like super frustrated in the end because you have this forced idea of how it should look, and you don't allow yourself to have fun and let the paint do its own thing and experiment and have fun with the colors. And then if you finish, for example, and you feel like, okay, this, I didn't like this effect, I didn't like how this color looked here, maybe I should paint the this a certain other way, then you can do this. But if you just go in with this, okay, let me make it perfect, then you would be just frustrated in the end because you will try it too hard and then will mess up. And here we have this other one. Just like focus the C shapes again. One, this is curved to the right, like so, and then here goes into the stem. So it's kind of like a green banana here. Like so, and we have one tulip for now. This is like the basic. And if you want, you can also use the wet and wet technique for these leaves. When the paint is still wet, we can use the dark green. I wouldn't suggest using green because I wouldn't suggest using black because I feel like this will make the painting a little bit flat. So I think if you use, for example, dark green or even just pink to make something darker, it will look a lot better. Maybe at here, just to add some shadows, like very loose, like so. And as you can see here, the stem turned into a little bit this brownish color because the pink turned into the pink color is mixed with this green, and they're both complementary colors. And complementary colors, even they sound like they complement each other, if they mix them together, if you mix those colors together, they create muddy colors. But sometimes they look very pretty, and sometimes you do want to use them. And we have this first tulip. And now you want to keep doing this with the rest of the tulips. And the ending here, for example, I have this, I tried to make it a little bit as if I cut it off with a knife or something. So it's not just like a line that goes into nowhere. It's kind of like you cut it off here. So you kind of knew what you were doing here. The stem turning brown is actually looking better. Yeah, it's really, I feel like when sometimes you maybe are scared to do something, but then you realize, well, it's actually pretty cool. Let me do this again. So that's why I'm saying you should, when you paint with watercolors, you want to learn this habit to allow yourself to just have fun and see this as a playground and not like, okay, let me perfectly paint the line and perfectly mix everything. It's just like, it's fun, like just to see how colors blend together. It will create even like these muddy results. And then here we have also this leaf that's poking out. I will do this here as well, just outlining it here. So maybe here. So it's kind of like this from a flower that's on this side that is not visible. And because this is still drying, I'm gonna move this to this side, and then I can paint this, and then we can paint this. You will see how quickly it dries. As everything's so clear so far, I hope you can follow along. When I try the wet on wet technique, adding the dark green to the lighter green, my brush just soaks up the paint instead of letting the colors blend. Yeah, if your brush is too dry and you have, for example, your brush is too dry and the paint is super wet on the paper, the brush will just soak up the wetness. So you want to make sure that the brush is loaded with enough paint and water. Okay, I will repeat exactly the same as I did here. So you can, if you're still on the first tulip, you can still follow along because it will be the same steps. Again, I will have some, well, this is a very clean brush. Make sure when you switch from green to this pink, you have a relatively clean brush. Otherwise, it will turn into mud. Not mud, but like it won't look as shiny as here. Again, I will use this pink here and start outlining it with a flat wash. At the bottom, it's thicker. And as you can see, this pencil line melts into my painting and my paint because it's a water-soluble pencil. And then so the bottom is this round shape, and then it goes slimmer and slimmer towards the top part, but still stays rather round here also. Well, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect, so it's fine. Also, like the way it looks here. Okay. And then I will add this with the same brush. I'm going to use this yellow here again and just add it here to the left side. I'm not following exactly like any rules of the light comes only from one side. I just focus on one flower at a time. Mix colors. So, and if you, for example, feel like you want to keep some areas lighter or you have too much paint, you can just dab off the paint on the tissue paper so the brush is rather dry, and then you can lift off some of the paint. So you can see then this area gets lighter, and here a little bit. So this way you can add some texture and some reflections. Maybe here. You can really play around with this technique. If you watch my last live stream, we painted these galaxy lollipops, so it's kind of a similar technique. So just lift off to reveal the lighter areas. and this gives some nice effects. Now I can see here I had lots of paint gathered around, so they have here some outline. This happens usually when you have lots of water and lots of paint, and then just pushes the pigments outside. But it's fine. All right, now let's move on to green, to the lighter green. And here I'm gonna paint the stem, and again I will, well, the paint kind of dried already, so it won't float as much, I guess. Oh no, it still does. And then we have this, still want to keep this under control, so I remove some paint and just blend it out. You can see now it kind of created this cauliflower effect and remove some of the paint, so I think I will just add a little bit more paint on top, this pinkish color, and blend it out again. And also add a little bit yellow on top. And when you have, like, if you do something and something doesn't work out, it's like here, for example, I had this, I lifted off too much of the paint. Don't freak out. You can always go back and fill out the colors again or remove it with a lifting of the paint. So it's not the end of the world if something doesn't turn out the way you planned to do it. You're not a machine. You can't like, you can't think of you as you're like a robot that makes perfect lines, perfect strokes, perfect everything. Just have fun. And again, I will paint these leaves here. Have a fine tip on at the here on top. Create a curvy line. It follows with another curvy line that meets around the stem. And then let me see, I guess here maybe again. That follows again. You don't want to paint over the line because otherwise you will lose this round egg shape. And maybe add like here the green to here. I will just keep it. I won't touch it anymore. And then, yeah, I think this should be fine for now. I mean, here again, it kind of creates this cauliflower effect, but I will just keep it the way it is. I feel like whenever I try to make it look perfect, it doesn't look good in the end. So I'm just train myself, remind myself it's fine. Don't overdo it, but also don't stress too much, making it look perfect. Okay, maybe I'll delete. Like you can see, this kind of didn't work out here. This wet and wet technique, because everything turned into one color, but it's fine. I haven't used this paper at all, I think, or maybe I would just once. So I'm not used to it, to painting on it. So I never know how it will turn out in the end. All right, now let me see. Okay, I can paint this flower here because the other one's still drying. And then, yeah, okay, let's move on to, again, I will use this pink color that I prepared. I will create a flat wash for the flower on the bottom here. So here, so it's kind of like the egg shape, just a little cut off on the top. So, and then I think this time I will use the yellow straight from the pan just to see how it will look. So I think it's still kind of orangey, but okay. And then this creates this beautiful orange color. And I will use some of the tissue paper just to remove some of the paint floating around here. I don't want to have it too much in the way. So that masterpiece is something I'm willing to stay up late for. Oh, thank you. And then, okay, now let's add the green. What do you do about any stray mark you made, like a mistake? You can always lift it off with a damp brush or a clean damp brush. You can also paint over it. So you can always lift off the paint if you use good quality paper. And the pigments are not, oh no, I picked the wrong color. And if the pigments are not dye-based, for example, some people like to use liquid watercolors, but that are dye-based. And those you can't really lift off, so it's harder to remove any mistakes there. Again, here the curve. And here's also the curve of the egg, so I'm following this. Maybe I will keep this a little bit thinner here. I'm outlining this here. I mean, I had a little bit different on my outline, on my sketch, but that's fine. See here, kind of like this. Maybe I will also just outline it here. Here also. So. Oh no, I'm still on the other one. I confused the bottom and top part of the egg. I was thinking I was painting the low bottom. And I will just add this other green here, just to make it darker. And to create any effects that might be happening here. So again, the end kind of like cut off like so. So it's like not just a line. And maybe here, oh no, we have still this egg, this flower here. Okay. To paint thin lines, you can either use a very thin, like a thin brush, like a small brush, round small brush. You can use a flat brush, or you can use a brush that has this fine tip. Like I have, this is a very fine tip that you can use for details. That's why I like this brush. It can hold a lot of water, but it also has a fine tip that you can use for details. And also you want to make sure that the brush is not fully loaded with paint, otherwise the tip gets too thick and then it's harder to paint thin lines. All right, now this is the last tulip that we need to paint. Again, I'm outlining it. Again, the bottom is a little bit wider than the top area. So, like a wine glass, kind of. And then I'm gonna add, I think a little bit of this paint straight, a little bit more here, so a little bit more vibrant. And then a little bit of the yellow here, like kind of orange already. And just mix them together with my damp brush. Now I don't normally paint with those St. Petersburg colors, St. Petersburg White Nights watercolor. So I'm still kind of not used to how pigmented they are and how chalky they can be sometimes. And like chalky, not in a bad way. It's just that you need to really dilute them and make sure you don't add too much paint, or otherwise they're just the pigments are just sitting there and doing nothing. So I usually use my schminke set, but I like to just play around with other colors as well. Your watercolor cheat sheet is really helping me paint this mako. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you can find the guides in the description box below. I think it's still linked there. If not, you can just check out my website. Okay, now I'm gonna use this leftover green here a little, and I will outline it. So you can see that my brush is very kind of loaded with paint, but it still has this fine tip. So I can use that. If it's difficult for you, you can also use a thinner brush, a smaller brush, a flat brush, anything, and you just use the edge. Let me see. So here it's a little less space now. Just adding a little bit here. Like so. And then one here, I guess. So it's kind of, I mean, the leaves are not that, like, I don't know, I don't have any reference. I was just looking at the tulip and saw, okay, it has three leaves sometimes, maybe more, and how they looked. So they not necessarily look super realistic, but that's fine. I just wanted to have some fun painting flowers. Okay, let's see. So here, there's like this gap. Doesn't look that round here, so I think I will just add one leaf here, just to make it look like there's another leaf, and we can get this round shape in place, because I feel like otherwise you don't really see the round shape here. Maybe one dot here, why not? Because I like to add some dots sometimes when I paint a line. I think this looks cool. Maybe here, like so. My leaves are too skinny compared to mako, but it's fine. Like you can, that's why sometimes I paint things multiple times until I find the best way that I personally like it to look. So don't worry. Here I also have a space, it's like a gap here. I think I will add also another leaf, just maybe like just don't know, like maybe just like that. Just so this tip of this one of those leaves, like so. So it doesn't look so empty here. Maybe add a little bit another here. Maybe some dots here. Like it doesn't, not super necessary, but I'm just trying out things to see how it looks. Maybe here also one single leaf hiding behind this shape. So, and we have an egg, flowers in an egg. Made them a little more plump and looks better. Awesome. All right. My tulips are a little darker than yours. That's fine. I showed you in the beginning. If you go back and if you want to rewatch the live stream, I showed you multiple versions, and you can make them lighter or darker and play around. And next time, if you feel like, okay, I don't like how dark they look, you can next time, you know, okay, next time I will try to make them a little bit lighter. That's why you paint and test and see, because otherwise you don't really know what to do and how what actually looks good on paper. In your head might looks good, but on paper you can't really translate it, so you need to test that. So that's fine. All right. Cool session. What would you recommend if I would add a background color? Good question. I haven't thought about it. I think because we have these greens and reds, they already kind of are these complementary colors that are like already burning into your eyes if you're not careful. So I'm not sure. I would need to think about it. Maybe some light blue or something. I think I wouldn't necessarily add a background. I think maybe I don't know. I would test. You can even use Photoshop or Paint on your computer to test out what looks better. Okay, we're almost done. We just need to add some details. I think I will start with because I want to add some details to the leaves also. But now I will add the details to the tulips. Is that the main thing? Now I showed you in the beginning. Where was it? I know I didn't show you, but here, for example, and let me show you the sketch of the egg. So here, this was the tulip that I showed you, and basically now we want to replicate, like, maybe you've heard about the negative painting technique where you don't paint, for example, the leaf, but you paint everything that is around the leaf to create the leaf. Like you paint outside. It's kind of, wait, let me use my watercolor. It's easier. So for example, instead of painting the leaf like so, you paint outside. So here, like this, you paint outside, and then this, like so. So basically now we want to shape the leaves a similar way. So I will show you this with this brush, with the pen. So basically, instead of painting this leaf here and this leaf, we will paint in the middle, like where they cross each other. So in this case, let me show you one. Here we have one leaf that goes somewhere here, like so. So this is the leaf that we won't paint. I just want to show you the line. And then this is kind of like it's lies around this, like it covers kind of the flower. It's like a petal. If you look at the tulip, it's this petal just around this middle part. And then we have another petal that is also closed here. And it has still have a curve because everything is a curve. It's not flat. Everything is always round here. So you basically follow the curve that you can see. It's like here, it's like shadows. And you follow the curve of the flower and you get this middle part that is darker. And maybe there's another flower here somewhere hiding, but we won't focus on that. Or you can also, for example, I will show you another tulip. Or I had this example where we had multiple. So for example, I will focus on one tulip, on one, how they call it, petal. And then there's another petal around here. Again, this is kind of like this shape that you grew around the stem. And then it gets here. So again, we don't trying to make it look super realistic, because there's also shadows, highlights, and lines, everything. I just want to focus on the simple shapes of a tulip, just to make it look a little bit more realistic. Okay, and for this, I'm going to use the same color, because now we're going to layer the colors, and they will get darker automatically. And then we can adjust it if necessary. So I will show you this as an example, maybe even here, a similar one. You can see I will paint it inside. I didn't, because this was the basic shape, and I used the negative painting technique to outline these leaves and these petals. Is it okay if you only do one curve? You can do however you like. You can even just keep it the way it is, like here. I just want to show you some ideas, and then you can think about if you'd want to try them out. You can also just on a separate piece of paper try it out and see if you like it and experiment. All right, so now let me show you. Let's start. This one's kind of similar. So basically I used a clean brush again, so rinse off the brush in the dirty water and then use the clean water to load it up with clean water. basically pretty clean. Okay. Then I'm using the same color. Just add a little bit more to my mixing palette. And I'm going to outline it first, so maybe you can see this if I do this. So it's basically, again, here, this is the curve. And I'm adding, you can really see it, oh, can you? A little bit here. And the other one, this is the one of the shapes. It's kind of like a spoon, basically. It's round on top and then goes slimmer, narrow at the bottom. And here one. So we have 1, 2, 3 lines here. And you basically paint inside to outline this. I mean, you can keep it the way it is right now, or use the same color to outline them. And if it's not dark enough, for example, it's kind of sometimes looks darker when the paint is wet. Just to make sure, I'm gonna use a little bit more of the paint and outline it here, and a little bit thicker here, just to see, like, these are the I always confuse petals and leaves. The petals, they are thin on the bottom, and then this round shape. We have always egg shapes everywhere, egg shapes kind of. So this time the egg shape is this way around. So the egg shape, the top is here and the bottom is here, basically. And here, this is the top of the egg, so top of the petal, and I'm gonna fill in the rest because there's like shadows and stuff. And then I will follow the other line here to create another. This kind of, everything is like a potato or an egg. So it's kind of, we paint in the egg, inside the egg we paint the egg-shaped tulips, and then the tulips are made out of egg-shaped petals, pretty much. And then here, so we have a petal here, one petal here, one petal here. Watercolor plus pencil color will make its subject more stand out and beautiful. Yes, like there are so many ways how you can use watercolors. You can use wash with it. You can use pencils, watercolor pencils. Maybe I will also add go a little bit higher here, just to mimic another petal behind it I can see. Now you can, for example, keep it this way. Or if you want to add some shadows inside, like, because so it doesn't look super flat, you can add a little bit of this green in the, like, add it here to make it a little bit darker. And again, you don't want to overdo it, or otherwise you have, it's a little bit, like you can see the transition is kind of harsh. So I'm going to use my damp brush and just blend it out a little bit. So. Tulips made of eggs. Yeah, I can see everything is like a basic shape. So it's not, if you break it down into shapes, you can see that everything is basically an egg here. Maybe except these leaves, they're C-shaped, kind of. All right, so, and then let's move on to, well, okay. While this is drying, I can also add some details to the leaves. I think I don't like them to look that flat after all. So I'm gonna use this darker green that I had prepared earlier and just paint over it. Now, I don't know what to expect, so I'm just hoping it will look good. If not, that's fine too. I'm just adding. So I think sometimes you focus so much on the outcome, like how it will look, we forget to actually enjoy the painting process. So even if it doesn't look perfect or great or a certain way in the end, that's totally fine because you focus on the painting process. And that's the most important thing. So here I'm going to add the shadow kind of, I mean, I'm not following any rules or anything. I'm just painting. I'm making the top part darker here. And then here, the lower part. So if you, I don't know, if you follow any rules, this will be like the lighter area where the light hits. This is like the darker area. But I don't want to focus on that too much right now. So. Can we use regular color pencils? You can, but you need to make sure that, I mean, they won't, if you paint on top, it works as well, but they won't dissolve and paint with water if you want to use them as like a outline or something. All right. Any questions so far? All right. Let me see. Maybe I can also add something here just to make it darker on this side, like so. Just following the curve because I feel like this will look a little weird if it's not following a curve. Here also. And then we can move on to this one because this one is drying. Here we can, what did I had here planned? Maybe something similar. So again, we have, let me see, yeah, kind of similar again. The shape goes, again, we have a round end, like a round egg that we started off with. And then it goes into a more like an egg shape on top, so smaller, thinner here, not thinner, more narrow. And then again, we have one that goes here. And then there's like some shadows. Oh, I forgot to add some shadows here also, but it's fine. It's not super necessary. And then I'm gonna use again. What is the best way to hold the brush to get a thin line? I have been holding it on the metal part, and my lines are so thick, metal part. I'm using it usually like this, holding it just like that, like also on the metal part, but you want to be very loose. You don't want to press down too much. And also you don't want to you want to make sure that the brush is not fully loaded, like super loaded with paint. Otherwise the tip will be too thick. And just loose, like you don't want to, sometimes people try to draw it super carefully, and then they the whole, this gets everything so stiff that you kind of lose control over it, like this way. So you want to like be more loose with your hands. I think this helps a lot. Even when you draw something like a circle, if you press too hard, if you focus too much on making this line perfect, you will just like be too how it's called, like too forced some, and then it doesn't look good in the end. But it definitely takes practice. You can also, I have a video on watercolors, how start simple with watercolors. It's a video where I show you simple ways how you can warm up using your brush from thin lines to thick lines. All right, now I'm gonna add these shadows here the same way. Maybe add a little bit more paint. And because we layer the paint, the color will automatically get darker. So, and then here again, and on top. Maybe outline some, I don't know. Here's something, like maybe there's one that's poking out, like another petal. And then the same way, I'm gonna add the darker area in the leaf with the dark green. And again, there are so many ways how you can paint tulips. Like you can be very loose, like even more abstract, or you can paint it super, oh no, paint it over. Paint it super realistic. I'm too impatient to make it super realistic. But sometimes it's fun also. I'm just don't want to make it super realistic here because I feel like if it doesn't look, sometimes I feel like when the art looks more loose, it looks a lot better. Like you can see the artists, how the artist painted it, and you can see the soul. Like for example, when you look at Van Gogh paintings, you can really feel the soul of the painting. If it's just a photograph painting, like super realistic, it kind of loses this uniqueness, kind of. Here. I don't know, maybe I will add a little bit on top. But I will, with a damp brush, I will just blend it out. I don't want to have this harsh line here. Can we draw different flowers and tulips? Of course, you can paint anything. I just felt like tulips are perfect for the season because tulips are growing everywhere. But you can paint any flower you want, of course. All right, now we have this. So maybe we have painted the petals on the left. So let's focus on the right side. So here I'm gonna create the same. Again, recreate this egg shape. So basically we have this egg shape here and on the side that meet at the stem. And then I'm just going to in with the same pink color. So you can see everything that I do just repeats itself. If you feel like, let me try it out to do it differently when you paint, you're more than welcome to do this. I think it's important to, when you, for example, follow a tutorial or want to paint, allow yourself to just have fun and explore different ways. Don't feel like, as I said in the beginning, see painting with watercolors as a playground, not a tool to like beat yourself up because it doesn't look a certain way. I feel like then the whole purpose of watercolor painting, you lose the whole purpose of watercolor painting. It's about painting and letting go and having fun and just allowing the paint to do its thing. Like just moving the colors is already so therapeutic and fun. So I think I would just a little bit too much here. Don't know. Let me add it a little bit on top here. So. I love your simple watercolor tutorials. Those inspired me to start painting. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think sometimes I was in a watercolor painting group the other day, and I feel like there are so many people posting super complicated paintings sometimes, and people get so discouraged. I feel like this is the only way how you can paint with watercolors, and they feel like I can draw, I can never learn it. But there's so many ways how you can paint with watercolors. It doesn't have to look a certain way. It doesn't have to look realistic. It doesn't have to be people. It doesn't have to be houses. You can just paint loose things like flowers or mountain landscapes, anything. And like usually I don't draw anything out first. Like sometimes I try to get out of my comfort zone. Like the other day, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, I was posting this building street painting that I painted following a tutorial. And I wouldn't usually paint a street with houses and stuff like that because I feel like, oh, there's so much work, blah, blah, blah. But it was actually very fun and it was super surprising. I was not expecting it to look this good for my first attempt because I was just like, okay, let's try it. And I had no expectations, so this helped a lot. Okay. Can you do paint portraits with watercolors? I first need to learn it. I haven't done this in a while. Mako was the reason I started illustrations 4 years back, and she is the reason I'm going to use colors from today. I love you, Mako. Aw, that's so sweet. All right. Okay, we have one tulip left. Again, I'm gonna use the same pink color. Make sure you don't have too much paint on your brush. And here, what did I plan for this one? I think it was similar. Also, again, this is like imagine a spoon holding sideways. So this is like the curve, and then the inside you would put the soup inside, and then it goes here. Like it's a pretty much a spoon from the side, and then we have here another spoon from the other side. And there's this middle part where they meet, and there's like shadows in between. So and maybe I'll add a little fine tip here to mimic another flower in the background. And also I'm gonna use again this green to add to shadows. Just remove some of the excess water with a damp brush, because otherwise it will be floating around like crazy. So, and yeah, I think I will also feel like the transition here is a little bit harsh. So I'm gonna use my damp brush and just blend it out a little bit. So to the bottom. So, and you have a tulip kind of, and you have this egg that looks like an egg filled with tulips. And then when everything is dry, you can just remove the outlines that I created here. I think this is, oh no, wait, I forgot to add the shadows here. Again, I'm gonna use the technique the same way like it does if it was cut. So just thicker here and then thinner here. And just add some darker lines to one of the sides of the leaves. Again, I don't follow any certain rules or anything. I just wanted to add some variety here to the leaf. So maybe also here. This can be also a little bit darker. And if you want, you can also, in my sketch, I had these dots. You can also add these dots in between if you want. For example, we have some spots here. Maybe I will add some, let's see. I think this will look cool. So if you have some dots in between. So again, I will use this. Just add here. Color. Maybe even an egg shape also. Why not? But I think it will be cool if it's just round. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. Again, don't stress too much about it. And then I'll add some here, some here, then here maybe. And here. Here could also, because we have so much on the right side, maybe here one. And then I will add a little bit of yellow. Here, here, and there, just a little bit. So, all right, I think that's enough. And again, if you don't want to add those dots, you don't have to. Just like I was just experimenting. Maybe I want here also. There's a little bit of space. And then you have an Easter egg. And again, here I have some lines that I can already carefully, I think I can carefully remove because it's dry. And here on the bottom, the sides, here, carefully. Just make sure if you had these dots there, you don't accidentally smudge them. Just let them dry. And there you have it. Then you have this card, and then you can, for example, if you want, you can keep it the way it is, or you can write Happy Easter. So I will add just like a line, 2 lines, just to add some, so I know exactly where to write the text. So maybe here. I think that's straight enough. And then you can add, or maybe like even from here. So the outlines meet here. And then I think it kind of looks like a banner. You can even create a banner if you want. Like this is just spontaneously, but I won't keep it. I think I will just write Happy Easter in a simple way, like so. Happy Easter. And then you have a Happy Easter, or you can keep, or you can remove it. So it's up to you. And you can also use watercolors for outlining the text, or watercolors. I think I will kind of like it without the text. I'm not sure. Maybe I will just keep it the way it is. I'm not sure. I need to think about it. What do you guys say? Do you like with the text or without it? So this would be here. I had this outline still here. Would you like more with the text or without? It's a good idea to make some highlights on leaves with yellow. Yeah, you can also do that. Yeah, I think I did this with some other. Yeah, here. I had some here. I added some highlights here, as you said. I can also do this. Why not? So I'm gonna use the yellow from earlier. Let me see. Add a little bit here. Just it's kind of like using the glazing technique to add some warmth and some more interest to the painting. But again, it needs to be dry. I mean, the layer below needs to be super dry, otherwise you will smudge the paint. And like that, and then get some creates this warm effect here also. Okay, and there you have it. Without the text looks better. So it's up to you guys. So you can use the text. I can have it here. I mean, it was like didn't try hard to write it. So, or you can even hand letter it if you want, whatever you prefer. Here I have this in bigger version. Doesn't fit into the screen. This is like the small version. With the text, it's more appropriate to use around holidays. However, without the text allows for a year-round usage, so it's a win-win in my opinion. Yes, like this, as I said in the beginning, you can even just use a circle for that and paint different flowers the same way. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this live stream and painting with me. If you recreate the painting, I would love for you to share it. I created actually a group for us on Facebook where you can join and share your art and share your advice and techniques, everything that you learned. And I will send you out a link and put it into the description below and then into comments, so you can, when you go back to the video, you can join and find the link. So I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you painted and when you are going to, or when you're going to recreate it. I would love to see your results. And I hope you have a really great Easter. If you have any questions, you can just comment below the video, and I will try to answer them when the live stream is over. In the comments, you can write them because I can reply to the chat. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful Easter. Stay safe, stay healthy, and yeah, I wish you a great weekend, guys. Bye, guys. Hope you really enjoyed it. I can't wait to see you in my next live stream that is going to be next Saturday. The time will be different though, because I want to cover more time zones. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you in my next live stream or on social media everywhere. Take care, bye. Take care, guys. Bye.